What I'm going to be talking about today is one of the largest projects we have called the Global Resource Observatory, looking at data and trying to connect that data into strategic decision makings for mainly country level. So that's finance sector and governments. And this is more of an economics-led sort of view of the world, along with mathematical modelling. And then we link that into behavioural science about how to encourage people to take up regulations and to put in place behavioural change programmes to engage the community. So taking a step back about what I mean by sustainable development, because while it's been around for around 40 years, as a general discussion within government, it still means lots of very different things. So looking at a key problem, the so what, why do we care more about sustainable development now possibly, such that it's leading to action, such that we are getting city planning that takes into account sustainability, or government regulation that's starting to take more account of sustainability than it did when this started in the sort of international discussion 40 years ago. So the systems view of sustainable development, it includes a number of different issues. Most of these are managed by different government departments, mostly managed by different businesses and the different asset classes in finance. So it's energy, food, water, land, metals, social mobility and health, capital availability and environmental loading, including climate change. So basically it's everything the society needs to perform and to grow the economy, although it's everything the economy doesn't measure or doesn't really include in the way that it operates in terms of strategic decision making, apart from possibly energy availability, and food is becoming increasingly important. So what we're trying to do is look at the interconnections between all of these things. Work on this has been going on for around 40 years as well, looking at how food, water and energy mainly interoperate, so how you can create biofuels instead of food on certain land to create more energy, how you can use energy to extract more water out of the land or use energy to grow more food, how much water is needed for food and what food does to water availability. So this interconnectedness is really important, and trying to understand some of the limits through that interconnectedness is what we're trying to develop. We've had some very interesting discussions with some of the large US banks and finance regulations who basically said if it was just an energy problem, we'd probably be okay. The energy markets would be able to price accordingly. We'd create innovation, we'd create alternative technologies. The problem with substitution there is then you move the problem somewhere else. So we need to start thinking in a systems way to really try and understand where the problems are and what the integrated solution potentially looks like. So my view on sustainability, and this is the presentation that I use for some of the large pension funds and governments in particular, is looking at global pressures. Why is this an important issue? Why is sustainable development still relevant? So obviously map of the world distorted by population. You can sort of see where people are. We basically like living in warm areas around the centre of the earth. No one really lives in Russia or Canada. I don't think we have any Russians or Canadians here at the moment. For some reason, the geographer who traced this plot thought lots of people lived in Antarctica, but they don't, so we should. So no one really lives in Australia or New Zealand. But the majority of the population, Europe, China, India, US, some very large populations growing rapidly in Africa. So you can sort of see the mix of population, so where some of these big issues are going to be discussed and thought about over the next 40 years. So what's happened since the Second World War, when we started talking about sustainable development in around the 1970s, life expectancy everywhere apart from sub-Saharan Africa has been going up. So our economic development and our activities as a society has been doing something right. We've been able to increase our life expectancy, and there are lots of reasons why sub-Saharan Africa has been going down. But life expectancy has been going up, so we've been getting older. Also, we've been, until very recently, having a significant impact on poverty. So this is households with an income less than $1.25 a day, the sort of World Bank absolute poverty measure. So this is showing some very significant declines, in particular, sort of light blue line in the middle, which is mainly China, apart from, again, sub-Saharan Africa, which is the dark blue line, which is staying above 50%. But everywhere else it's coming down fairly significantly, so we've been getting older, and basically healthier to be able to live longer, but we've also been getting wealthier on average. That's obviously not necessarily spread equally around the world. But this is a sustainable development talk, so while we've been doing a lot of positive things with our economic development, then the sustainable development challenges have been growing. So this is the projection of water availability around the world, sort of similar sort of map looking at water stress, and this is by the middle of the century, so by 2050s. And you can see this is where current economic activity and planned economic activity will be severely under threat due to availability of water. So Middle East, North Africa, large parts of China, sort of breadbasket of the US, and where we are currently in the UK, so east of England and southeast of Spain in Europe, significantly under water stress. Basically not enough water to continue to do the economic activity that you want to carry out. So you need to do something else. Water is fairly essential.